Yeah, so after this, I'll tell you about how I pooed at work, and yeah, like I said, had to come home. So
Been a while. I've been a bit MIA for the past
let's
couple
see what
of
this
weeks.
fella
Because
says.
if you hadn't heard, Blizzard launched a brand new game. Yeah, that's right. Since Diablo 4 release, I've just been living, breathing, eating, and sleeping this game.
Big respect.
It really hasn't been so much
True
fun.
grinder.
I ain't got time for that. Paragon board ain't gonna fill itself. Neither is my best in slot gear gonna grind itself. And don't even get me started on those altars of Lilith. Although I'm just kidding. I haven't even tried on those. I'm not gonna run around clicking on all the little stupid altars.
You should. The Altars of Lilith, they just confirmed it today. Will go season to season for the stat boosts and the renown gain. I believe I think the renown gain, but at least the stat boost. So when you start a new character every season, you're gonna have fat stats right off the bat, and you won't have to collect them again. I will be honest; it is brain melting the first time. I felt like a bowl of broccoli and cheddar soup after. So definitely do what you will with that information, but if you want to play Diablo 4 in the future, I would do it.
I don't want to do that either. No, I'm much more interested in running Champions Minds for the 1000th time. I got to about 500 before I checked out. It's just boring as hell to me. I don't know how people do it. Collecting years in PvP has been a lot of fun. Also, fun fact, I've never died. And also killing world bosses on the max difficulty tier in under 30 seconds because that makes a whole lot of sense.
Oh shit, I actually have to do the world boss.
Somewhere around 60 to 90 seconds instead.
Again.
30.
Because it reset.
And also, I got myself all the way to about level 80 on my sorceress in just a couple of days of art.
He's over here talking about grinding. He's only level 80.
Or grinding before deciding to re-roll as a
Weak.
druid because yes, I am in fact certifiably crazy. Anyway, today I'm here because I want to share some updated opinions, suggestions, and thoughts on the game. There's a lot of new and updated critiques here basically after spending the past week and a half playing. And although this video is going to be focused on critiques and things that I would like to see improved.
This is going to be the fucking Doomer video, dude. It's the end of Diablo 4.
I've just been having an absolute blast.
Oh my god.
I see myself playing now straight through to Season 1. Although, admittedly, I will be playing at a slower clip because so far, yes, I have gone a wee bit overboard. I think the game's great. I've been having an absolute blast. I already totally think it's worth the cost of admission. But there are some things, for sure, that I would like to see improved, changed, added upon, and or addressed in the current state of the game that I think would overall make for a much better gameplay experience. So let's talk about some of the things Diablo 4 needs to consider addressing from the perspective of an armchair YouTube developer. It's worth a lot, right? I know. Okay, so first off, speaking of that first season, maybe reconsider the renown farm resetting. I gotta tell you, as much as I love the scale of the world, there's just a lot here to do.
So yeah, this is like null and void right here, this renown part, just because they are, they talked about that today, that it's going to get, like the, like some renown stuff gets carried over. You will have to do the renown farm to get your skill points, I believe, but it's good, in the fact that, the annoying parts like Altars of Lilith you won't have to get, and discovering the map again.
Absolutely massive play space, and as I'm going through for the very first time, discovering everything, unlocking everything, running dungeons for the first time, doing the side quests, engaging in the world, but the idea of starting it all from scratch, and specifically...
So it's not all from scratch. I would say it's like... And you naturally get renowned through the questing anyways, so it's like, I don't know, like... I could see wanting the Diablo 3 style of just log in and do rifts and get off, but I don't like that.
Full game reset of the seasonal structure while also having this massive open world and all this stuff in it. These things just feel a bit at odds with me, and I almost wish that maybe they tried something different where they tried to incorporate this idea of seasons by adding new content that freshens up the game, but also letting us keep a lot of the base version of the game cleared with the map uncovered and the renown that we have farmed, but maybe having seasonal elements in parts of the world or for specific types of content within the world, but not the entire overland map. You know what I'm saying? And I know ARPGs, they've always been about this. It's actually what
it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So I think that, when was this video posted? 2 days ago. So yeah, this is before they announced a lot of the renown changes, but You know, it is what it is.
over the years is because yes, it's fun to jump in to check out a new season, but that's fun for a few days to a week. It just makes me wish.
I'm just happy I don't have to get the Altars of Lilith again. I actually almost quit Diablo 4 because of that. I'm such a fucking pussy.
In a lot of ways played it safe and doesn't quite have as much innovation.
I hated it so much.
They had pushed for, and I think this is probably one of those things where we could envision you've got this huge play space, massive open worlds, and yes, you still do seasons. Yes, you give us a reason to come back for fresh new things.
Aw, thanks, Marley.
To make new characters, but maybe that could be within
thanks,
portions
girl.
of the game instead of the entire game space and clearing it all. I like this world. I like that I've cleared it, and I would like to have freshened content in seasons that didn't completely Thanos snap the whole map progress, especially the Renown Farm, because it's really a slog. It feels like quite a bit of a slog. Next up, I do want to talk about how map progress resets within a season or within the current launch version of the game. But first, let us progress to a word from today's sponsor. If you're looking to get the most out of your Diablo 4 experience, like
there it is.
Why not consider getting?
Wow, that's a pretty computer.
What
do we got in there? We got some tubes. Looks like we got some tubes. We got some glass. Wow. Yeah. That's what is this? Jawa, dude. Okay.
It's as simple as heading over to the website.
That's a really pretty computer.
Search bar and then browsing what other users have for sale.
This looks like a fucking Etsy website for computers.
Alternatively, you could also filter through each individual category. Diablo 4 is a great
build your computer and sell it.
The highest settings, but are in need of an upgrade. Java.gg probably has what you're looking for, be that a new GPU or a new custom gaming rig. I've been playing through Diablo 4 on my brand new PC that I got through Java. It has been fantastic. I got the game running on max. It looks good, runs smooth. Everything's been awesome. So if you'd like to learn more and check out java.gg for yourself, go ahead and use my link in the video description below. Okay, so now let's go ahead and move on to talking about the map progress resets right now. If you make a second character, it feels like they should maybe have.
So yeah, right now it does reset if you make a second character, which is just like it feels super crappy. They said in the seasons it doesn't, so we'll see.
Map progress would be shared across characters within the Eternal Realm, and
it's weird leveling another character because you have to like go find the dungeons again. I've just been doing the Whispers of the Dead to find it, like to find different dungeons.
Those will be reset if you make a new character. So in my particular instance, I played a lot. I got my sorcerer up to 80, and then I decided I want to try a new character. I'd like to level up a druid, so I make a druid, and everything is reset. Now,
the renown grind was not, it didn't feel like a grind to me because I was able to easily do it. The what's it called? Blah, 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 blah. The Altar of Lilith. I'm gonna keep saying that. I fucking hate those pieces of shit. And anybody that's like a Lost Ark fanboy that's like, oh, you get the things that are kind of like those probably suck too. I don't give a fuck.
I just play my sorceress even though I no longer want to, just to complete all of this renown grind, or can I keep playing my new character, the one that I'm interested and motivated to play right now?
If you're level 80, I don't even know how you don't have the renown grind done. That's crazy.
Maybe there's a better balance of
I had the renown grind done when I was like level 55.
Waypoint unlocks for all of the towns. Right now you get all of the major towns when you make a new character, but everything else is completely reset. I think if at the very least they gave me every single waypoint, and that would make going through that process again a little bit easier than it is with a full-on reset whenever you make a brand new character. And it kind of goes back to the first point where I love that this game is so huge. I love that it's massive. I love
huge, ginormous.
There's so much to explore and to see. But the flip side of that token is that it feels like
that it's also huge and ginormous.
Start to consider other characters.
So another thing they're doing is actually letting you TP to the dungeon, the Nightmare Dungeon, which is actually kind of dope. So, big change, big W's, big.
I also think they should look at rebalancing experience rewards. So up until this point, one of the fastest ways to level to get experience, to grind up towards that max level of 100, has just been through farming dungeons and resetting them in a group, doing things like split farming. That has been, hands down by a large margin, the fastest experience per hour, the best way to level up. We saw this initially with people running through Champion's Demise, and then recently it was Ruins of Eridu, both of which have now completely been nerfed into the ground, with Blizzard cutting back on the number of elite packs, because elite packs are
Yeah,
basically
I heard they
split
cut down
into
density.
you get a large portion.
That's
I
kind
think
of
it's
weird.
Like 7 times more experience you get from elite packs than you do from normal mobs. So people just want to farm elite packs. And usually in any game like this, the best way to do it is to find.
I mean, I feel like when you like drop a fireball or, you know, freaking twisting blades inside of like a massive pack, it just feels like such a good nut. Like, you just, like, the fucking dopamine is similar to sex. Like, I'm not even kidding. But when you get these pussy ass like 2 to 3 mob packs, like, bro, I'm not even edged. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not even edged.
The most like predictable and highest density amount of experience that you can farm within a set window to get the fastest amount of experience per hour. And the more reliable and more consistent you can make that, the more likely that is to be considered the best.
The poison build is so good. That's like what my rogue is. It's so OP.
It doesn't matter how much you try to balance it across all these different content types. There will always be some most efficient way. Maybe though they can do things to try to even it out a little bit. I think one possible solution would just be nerfing continuous runs of the same content, and this would make it so that if people try to run the same instance over and over and over again, it would maybe give successively less experience on successive runs. That might feel a bit too restrictive to players, so maybe another option is just buffing things, other content in the game. Like for example, I feel like Nightmare Dungeons should probably reward more experience. It's already a progression.
Yeah, Nightmare Dungeons are like really only good for like loot.
Good for farming experience, and that could be sort of a kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It's not like there isn't enough to grind.
They should make every activity as efficient as the previous activity, so it's like people can just do what they want and enjoy the game. You know, I'm not going to be one of those people that's like, well, in PoE they go blah 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 blah, but I'm trying to think of a way to do that without actually doing that. But it's never a bad thing to give people the option to do what they want to do, is what I'm trying to say.
Consolidating the character level grinding and the glyph upgrade grinding, that would be great. And then the overworld, like, I love this. It's a great space, but it feels like the worst place to go if you're trying to level up. So maybe some bonuses to experience while in the overworld.
Bro, I use Hell Tides for Forgotten Souls, and that's fucking it. I don't give a fuck about that place except for crafting materials. I like doing them with my friends though. They're fun to just walk around and kill shit.
For us to be in the overworld. I know they have the bounty system, the Tree of Whisper system, but that doesn't feel like quite enough. It feels like far behind the dungeon grinding. They nerfed Champion's Demise, they've nerfed Eridu. We're just gonna find the next most efficient dungeon to farm unless they change something up. In addition,
do you really? I mean, I guess some people want to min-max that.
You gotta do something else that makes it so that there will be more of an even playing field when it comes to that best XP farm for the people looking to do that. Now, this next thing hasn't affected me personally because I haven't played a hardcore character, but watching people lose their characters,
in the loading screen,
game always online. Oh, it's absolutely heartbreaking to see.
Oh, you can get cucked so fucking hard.
To disconnect bugs and glitches, or what's worse, the fact that Blizzard.
I do think the leave game stuff though is very big pussy shit though. It's massive pussy shit.
All of this just means, hey, there should really be some sort of in-game petition for people.
Because your character technically hasn't left, it's still like temporarily in the world, so it gets giga smacked. It's so troll.
Like, hey, you sign up for this because this is an always online game. If there are server issues,
nah, that is such a bad fucking reason. Like, you signed up for this. That's basically saying like our game has a defect and you know, get good with it, or you know, just don't play that part of the game. I don't even play hardcore, and that would be such a shit thing for them to say. They'll fix it. I think they addressed it today actually. That's going to come down to server stability, and after all the casuals quit and go back to playing baby game La La Land, the true hardcores will be left in Diablo 4 to grind. I'm just kidding. But, yeah.
If people's characters die, not because they played poorly or misread the encounter, but because you updated the cash shop, then maybe we should revive all of them.
Those characters that died during the cash shop reset, big L. They should have revived those characters. That is so toxic to me. That is crazy. I would be so sad. I don't know.
I love those characters. I think that'd be really good. The mount in this game feels really awkward between constantly getting.
Everybody talks shit about the mount. I mean, I haven't played Lost Ark, so I don't know what the mount's like. But everybody's like, Lost Ark's mount's so much better, and I'm like, okay, like, it is what it is to me. It's not like, it doesn't seem like a big problem.
Like, I kind of understand how that might translate to, like, you know, if you're playing on a gamepad and the further you push the joystick, the faster it goes. That makes sense. But with the mouse and keyboard, what? I don't like it, and I really they should get rid of it because it just makes it feel clunky. And before you realize that this is a thing, you just don't understand why the heck your mount is sometimes, when you hit the gallop button, going like a mile an hour, and sometimes.
Oh yeah. So I'm a controller enjoyer, so I did not even notice that. When you play with mouse and keyboard, the closer your mouse is to the mount, the slower it goes. So. Once again, something irrelevant for my play style, but I mean, I don't see a reason they can't just fix that.
I didn't realize that for the longest time, and then I read it, and I was like, "What? This is a thing? Oh, it sucks. It's stupid. Get rid of that. I don't want my mount to go faster or slower depending on my mouse."
Bro, that's like it's like some default setting in the game UI builder that they had, and they were like, "Oh, we forgot to turn it off."
RP, give me an RP walk button or something. I don't need my mount to go slow at any point. Point of the mount is I want to always be going fast all the time, always hard, always erect. People complaining about the fact that the mount has a cooldown. I think as part of just like a game mechanics thing, it's okay that there's a cooldown when you dismount if you want there to be some time in between dismounting and mounting. I think particular though, the long cooldown when you get dismounted by enemy mobs, it's, I don't know, like 20 to 30 seconds. It feels super long. Get rid of that. It's already long enough just if you dismount on purpose. Now here's some quality of life things that I would really, really love to see and I think would be great additions to the game. Give us build templates and or loadouts. You know, they've already got a template system in place for cosmetics in the game. You can have all of these different cosmetic presets. Give me that for our skill tree, for our build, and for our Paragon board, please. That'd be super helpful. So for one, this could be if you want to play different types of.
That's like a wish list item. I don't think. Like that would be just a cool thing. But I don't think that's something that's going to. I'm going to be honest. That's not going to get added. At least not for a very long time.
Maybe I want to try a conjuration build, but then also, even if you want to play the same spec but have different variations, you know, so you'll have a variation of a build if you're doing speed clearing and you just want to be fast and quickly taking out things, AoE groups. You might have a single target spec. You might have a tanky spec for pushing nightmare dungeons. You might have a PvP spec. It would be great if we just had templates in the game instead of having to manually change these whenever we go through different content. Now, the early pre-launch concerns of respecing being prohibitively expensive, that hasn't come to bear. It really, I haven't felt any issues if I wanted to change a few specs here and there. But they can totally still have the gold cost associated with respecking and have build templates and loadouts in the game and just make it so that every time you swap loadouts, you take away some of our gold because you want that to be part of the gold sync. Although, let's be honest, with the gear system and gear upgrade and extracting and all of that stuff, there's some pretty big gold sinks in the game. In particular, when you want to re-roll attributes. I mean, it's going up to the millions, many millions of gold just to try to get a new attribute roll. Like, you got a lot of gold sinks.
I like the gold sync. I think this game is very it's easy to learn. I would say easy to master as well, like for a normal understanding, but there has to be some negatives, right? Like there has to be something that it adds a little bit of challenge. I wouldn't even call it a negative, just something that adds challenge. And I think they did a good job with like the gold balancing. I think people just need to like. I know people have said they've never sold as much as they have before, but I think it's a good thing for the health of the game. So gold doesn't compound, out of like crazy. I mean, in Diablo 3, like I had like a gajillion gold. Like I didn't even know the number could go that high, but I had so much gold. It was crazy.
That skill, the skill system, the builds.
Gold has like a legitimate meaning.
It can still be a part of it, but it doesn't have to be a major part of it. So you're taking our gold. You're taking my gold, Blizzard. Okay. Trust me, my gold is disappearing very quickly all the time.
Yeah.
Why, oh why, is there a cap of 20 side quests? There's too many side quests.
Hard agree with this. Remove that shit. Remove it immediately. I don't give a fuck what you have to do. Change it to 0 to infinity. I want to hold all the side quests all the time because I'm one of those people just like pick it up and I'll get to it. No.
Already, there's a lot of them all over
No
the
arguments
place.
there.
Just let me have all the side quests. Why is there a cap? It's totally unnecessary. It's not like the game is constantly showing me the side quest. I have to click on it for it to be highlighted anyways. So just get rid of the limitation.
Hate the 20 quest cap.
I'm trying to do
I always hit it. So annoying.
As I'm doing things, as I'm doing hell tides, as I'm doing tree bounties.
See, that's the type of stuff they need to think about. It's like gold is like, it's irritating in the sense that it's challenging. That's irritating in the sense that it's irritating because it's literally there just to be there. It has no intentional gameplay use other than to be a time suck and annoying, which is bad.
In the process, and I'm just trying to do my renown that way instead of hardcore farming it, running around for Altars of Lilith, or running around the side quest, or running around each dungeon. I just want to naturally come across this renown unlock, and it's so much more annoying with these limitation of the side quest because I'll be in a zone and just doing the natural unlocking, and then if I go to another zone for tree quest over there, I don't have any of the side quests, and I can't pick them up because my quest log is full. So I gotta abandon all those quests and then pick up these ones and do that. And then if I move to another zone because of the new Tree of Whispers locations, I'll do it again. It's just get rid of the limitation. It seems totally unnecessary. Currently, the game has a Mark II junk option where basically you can mark a bunch of things that you want to sell as junk in one bulk thing. I think it'd make way more sense if there was a Mark to keep option because most of the time, a majority of what you have in your inventory is junk, and you're either going to want to bulk sell it or bulk salvage it. So let us mark.
I wish you, yeah, okay, so he's saying like you want, like instead of marking as junk, mark to keep. There's always like 1 or 2 items I want to mark to keep. I think I would rather do that than mark to junk. I guess there's the argument it's like it's kind of the same thing, but it feels more tedious to do the mark for junk. I don't know why. It's like a mental thing because you're still going through checking everything, whether it's you're checking it to keep it or checking it to junk it. So like what's the real difference? But it just feels weird in the brain. I don't know. I can't explain that, but I understand this.
I would love to see a death recap. Sometimes I'll die in this situation. I'll be like, how did I die? Why did I die? What happened? What hit me? How much damage?
I think that's another wish list item. I think that's a much easier one to add than the profiles option.
Along those same lines, we talked about this pre-release as well. I would also love to see an end of event recap for things like world boss fights or dungeon bosses or nightmare dungeons. Give me a little recap of highlights.
Bro, that snake looked like a butthole. Like a constricting anus.
Information of what happened, how we did, how much damage we did. Just interesting stats you could throw in here, which I think would be great. This next one is a recurring request, and that is for a
like ASMR. I don't know.
God.
I'm sorry.
Anytime I get on my mount, anytime I go to the Tree of Whispers, and at various other locations in the game, when that camera zooms back just a wee bit, I'm like, this is where my camera should be the whole time.
Yeah, so he's getting to like the nitpick stuff. Maybe it's not a nitpick for everybody, but I don't really give a fuck about the camera. It is what it is.
I get that as well. There's a whole lot of reasons why Blizzard wants the camera where they have it, but I'm telling you, I'm sitting here, got an ultra wide monitor. I'm an arm's length or so away from.
Yeah, you're the minority, homie. I do not like who. I mean, how many people really have an ultra wide monitor? I wish I had one, but I don't, and I think most people don't.
I want that camera back just a little bit. I don't. It doesn't need to be massive, right?
They should allow you to give the option though, right? Like they should allow you to scale it. Fair enough.
To be like a P on the
Once
screen.
again, options is never a bad thing.
10 to 20% more pulled back, I think would be great. And then finally, last big thing is just so much quality of life when it comes to storage and the stash. For one, we absolutely need a larger shared stash. Trying to store alternate gear for different builds, for variations on my build, like I talked about earlier, for like speed clearing.
I wish we had a loot filter. I wish we had loot filters so bad. All the other ARPGs I've played recently have had loot filters. I'm not even a PoE Andy. Like I am probably would be considered one of your more casual PoE players, but PoE, Last Epoch, like that game has a built-in loot filter. Like these other ones have loot filters that are just so good that you can get, and I just love that shit.
More for single targets, more for PvP. PvP.
It makes it's so quality of life.
Because there's all these different roles, and the various builds will have specific aspects that they want, and only half of the aspects are in the Codex of Power. So I need to hold on to my aspects, but they take up a lot of space. And then that doesn't even consider if you have more than one character. As it was just on my sorceress, my stash was basically full. Then I made the druid, and I was like, my stash is full, and at least half of it is for my sorcerer. So what ended up happening as I continued to play the druid and was like, hey, you know what? I love this. I'm having a great time. I think this is going to be my new main character. I got all the sorcerer stuff taking up space. I need storage for my druid. I just had to delete all my sorcerer stuff, and that's gonna suck.
Easy. I'll just delete my other character. For problem solved. No, dude, you're gonna need all the gold, so you can sell everything else from the last character to afford your new character.
Would be great as well. I actually flip-flopped on this. So early on, I was like, oh my god, there's so many gems. They take up so much space. I hate this. You know, we should get like a gem pouch or an extra gem storage tab. But then, as I kept on playing and I was in the end game, I realized, well, you only need like a handful of gems for your build, because once you know the gems that you need, you don't need to hold on to all the other ones and all the other variations, right? And then I was like, okay, maybe this gem thing isn't such a big deal. But then the leaks came out that there are going to be higher tier gems, with people reporting that we might need hundreds or thousands of gems to feed into to make those higher tier gems. And now I've gone back again to thinking, yes, we should be holding on to every single gem that we find, because we're going to need it for a future update. And with that, we need some gem storage, please. That would be great.
For a future, I'm not gonna play in the Eternal Realm, so I mean everything resets for me anyways. Like I'll just be playing on seasons, so I do want a gem tab. Like don't get me wrong, like just for quality of life, and keeping 7 gems in your backpack is ass. It is, but it's so bad. But yeah, I mean, I don't need to save gems because it's gonna reset for me. For people playing the Eternal, I guess that's the thing.
In a lot of ways, it doesn't really make sense to even extract an aspect until you are about to use it, because it takes up just as much space. So just hold it up in your inventory. But as mentioned earlier, we don't actually have quite enough inventory or shared stash space. We can use more of that. So I think one solution would be just take aspects and make it as part of the occultist UI. Like make it part of that menu when you interact with the occultist. Whenever you extract something, it just like goes into this hopper of things that you can use, rather than having it be an item that takes up even more space, another thing to fill our inventory. If not,
just make another tab too.
Aspect inventory tab. Both the equipment and the consumables have 3 rows, but for some reason, aspects only has 2 rows.
Yeah, the aspects troll
shit.
Give
us a 3rd row at least if you're not going to migrate it into the occultist UI. And then there's also the fact that like every single aspect of a type, be it like offensive or resource or mobility or utility, they all look the same. So when I break down a bunch of different offensive aspects, the icon is the exact same. I can't at a glance figure out what each one is, so I've got to mouse over each one of them individually. I had a whole stash in my shared stash filled up with all of these different offensive and other aspects for my sorceress, right? And then I made the druid, and I was also pulling up more aspects from there for the build that I needed. And when I put that all in the same stash, they all just mixed together, and I'm like, so you can figure it out, right? You can manually sort it, put like the sorcerer on top and the druid on the bottom. But even still, if I have like 10 different offensive aspects, every time, like if I need a new one because I get a new piece of gear, because we're constantly getting a new piece of gear, and we need these aspects for.
I think you can just sum this up to, I want more tabs for more shit. I think if we got a gem tab, like everybody would just be happy. That would just be a normal big W.
I got a new piece of gear. I need this particular offensive aspect for it. Which one of the 10 to 20 offensive aspects in my stash was that one? I don't remember, and I can't at a glance figure it out. So, nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Like that's what you have to do it every time. At a glance, there should be some better way of finding this. Or another option, and this would solve a lot of other problems, is if they gave us some sort of search functionality, some keyword search, instead of mousing over every single aspect or every single piece of gear when you're looking for something. Let us type in keywords that can filter things out. If we're looking for a specific stat or a specific word.
That's really, I mean, aside from looking cool, that's why, like, legendary type stuff has its own look, right? It's like, so you can easily find it, because when you're, a gamer boy, you will easily be able to identify good gear or like the thing you're looking for based on the way it looks.
That we know is on the aspect
Like visual is such a strong indicator for quality of life.
I think just some better sorting options, because right now there's only one type of sort, so they should give us the option to sort by rarity or armor type, or sort by class or power level, or sort so that all of the aspects are put next to each other by their particular name. There's a lot more quality of life and a user experience improvements that I feel like they can make, and these would be some of them. And then finally, after playing so much, I realized we could definitely use a loot filter, and I hope that is something that they consider as well. Whew, okay, so that I know was a long list of what sound like grievances, but really these are just things that I would love to see brought to the game, addressed with the game to make it better. A game that I already think is great, a game that I plan to play for the next several weeks up until the first season and into the first season. And if some of these things are addressed, maybe something that I continuously play for far longer. I think they've got a really great base here, but I do think there's a lot of things they could do to improve the game, and many more beyond the things that I touched on and addressed here. And maybe that's something, other issues that we cover in future videos. But that's pretty much going to do it for today's. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me
Battery
actually think about any of these
70%.
critiques. You know, I'm not a game developer, and there will be a lot of things that we discussed here that might go against some of...
So yeah, good video. Everybody knows Force Gaming, good guy. Plays a lot of different games, but been playing Diablo 4 recently. Good video. So yeah, overall, sum it up. Add a gem tab. Make more quality of life things. Another thing I want to say, and this is going to come, I mean, this goes without saying, is like more legendary aspects, more uniques, more of that to make gameplay changing effects. Very excited about all that. But right now, I think we have a pretty good game. I would probably rate it 8 out of 10 if I had to give it a rating at its current state. That will go down, obviously, depending on the future, or go up, depending on the future, or it might just stay the same. But yeah, definitely W video. Diablo 4, I mean, this biggest problems, that feels like a little bit of a baity title, but it definitely has problems. I mean, most games have problems, but these are fixable, and especially from the talk today, it looks like they've been reading into community criticism a lot. So I'm looking forward to the future of this game.